Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Peace be unto you. I come to you in peace and come to you in requesting understanding and to be able to impart wisdom in the amount that I have toward the incident of us losing our sister, her being taken away from us. And we've been busy all day trying to honor our sister, talking to both Christians and Muslims alike that would like to do something, say something to honor our sister, because she contributed so much to the Black community. And she was not divided. If she saw a Black person, it didn't matter to her what our name was, our religion was, right? Whether we're Muslim or Christian, she would be there to serve. And I think that says so much about her. So we're busy tonight, hoping to fulfill. We've got 3 shows. I'm tired, brothers and sisters, but I want to make sure that I reach the brothers and sisters out there to let them know that we're honoring our sister. We honor her for her stance, uncompromising stance. Thank you. Stance that's uncompromising. She could have taught a different narrative with the changes that were going on. I've listened to her speeches over the years, and she stayed constant. The white man was still the devil. She didn't want to integrate. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. So she stayed constant. And that's the thing that I appreciate about the sister, that she stayed constant. They couldn't pressure her into changing her stance. Saying a whole lot. Because you know these white people. She didn't give nobody a pass. Nobody a pass. She talked about Kim Kardashian and Kanye. She didn't give them a pass. I know there's some people that, the Kardashians are Black. They're not Black. They're crackers too. They're crackers too. Belong to the white man. Out there getting tans and riding off Black success as legal harlots and prostitutes, selling their body through relationship to the highest bidder. Whores, sluts, and prostitutes. That's what the Kardashians are. Yeah, I know. There are those now saying, well, brother, you have hate in your heart. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I heard the sister on this clip I put up on Facebook, my Facebook page. I'm going to try to find it so I can put it up here. But this particular clip, I heard her saying the same thing, that it says she's a hater, that she's racist. Imagine that. You can see the white man, right? Him saying that, which is totally hypocritical. But for a Black person to get in the mind and say another Black person is racist, brothers and sisters, this is strange to me. To me, it's strange for them to get in the mindset to call a Black person racist against white people. It's crazy. I mean, totally insane. That is insane. Totally insane. Totally insane. But you have those out there doing it. You got them out there doing it. Now for all the people who want to come through, troll this page, right? You're welcome to do it because I appreciate the participation. I appreciate it. So you're welcome to do it. You're not going to do anything but help me out, and give me some more subscribers. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. Put this in my pocket. And so you got Muslims, brothers and sisters. What I really want to say, that really don't know what's going on. I mean, you know, if the Muslims start thinking like the Christians, we're really in trouble. What's some real deep stuff if the Muslims start thinking like a Christian. They honestly don't believe that the white man is killing us. Excuse me. It's been a long day already. Got to come back twice more. But there are those that really, really believe, really believe that there are exceptions amongst white men, white women, white children. I mean, what kind of mindset you have to be in order to think that way? You have to be in a certain mindset to think that way. I mean, it's crazy. It is literally crazy. Here this man is, I know I say it every day that I get on here. Here this man is killing you. I mean, you don't have a gun. To me, the fact that the man is killing you and you don't have a gun is suspect to me. Now, let me tell you about the federal government. They will silence, block anybody trying to put out truth. Take this page, for instance. When I look on it, it says they don't have any visitors or whatnot. But every time I come off, I have a lot of visitors. So they mess with the algorithm. The whole thing is psychological warfare. It's to discourage you from doing anything. I'm gonna make sure I type this in. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West gets no pass. They'll be back together again. They'll be right back together again. Because they are media hungry people. They love the media. They love the attention. So they'll be back together again. All of it's a big game. All of it's a big game. I mean, the higher you go, the more games you get. That's a big game, brothers and sisters. But our lives is not a game. Our lives is not a game. And we have to separate from these people. This is what Dr. Ava taught. Black separation. She called Thomas Jefferson. She called Thomas Jefferson a pedophile, a rapist, statutory rapist. Another way of calling him a pedophile. You know, she said black separation or black death. Black separation or black death. And that's the truth. I mean, this man is killing us, the white man. Right? What man? The white man. The white man is killing us leaps and bounds. And he is literally, if he go to jail, he won't be there the entire sentence. And when he get out, we don't have a guarantee that he's going to do the right thing. But you have a guarantee that he's going to do the wrong thing. He'll go out and kill again. He'll go out and rape again, right? He'll go out and firebomb somebody's home. He'll go out and beat up somebody's kid. He'll go out and kill again. That you can believe. Because they're devilish. This is an evil race. Evil race of people. Evil race of people. And you mess it up when you try to save him and make him good. You can't save the white man. None of the prophets could do it. None of the magi's, none of the holy people could go in and civilize that beast. They couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. And because they couldn't civilize him, this posed a problem to Africa. Because they come out of those caves. Many they come out of those caves, they're looking for fresh meat. So just imagine you have a whole race of Jeffrey Dahmers. A whole race of Jeffrey Dahmers. Right? Then he said he like eating black meat because it tastes sweeter. I mean, these people are amazing. Amazing in evil and treachery and death. They are amazing. I don't see how any black person could trust anybody white. I know you got to hustle. I know you got to do your deals and all of that. I understand. The white man's money spend like black man's money. Yeah. But if you know you can't trust a white man, right? Money is nothing because they could print that overnight. Why would you go anywhere alone with the white man? That's what I don't understand. Knowing how dangerous it feels, your spirit is literally telling you, hey, this person is not safe. Don't you be around them. This sister, Dr. Ava Muhammad, was in tune, brothers and sisters, with nature and with the nature of the white man. She knew exactly who she was dealing with. This is why she said we have to separate. Now, they'll give you this false narrative. Forget what page it is. It's a paper. What is it? It's a syndicated column. I can't think of the name of it. I think it's called News NGR, whatever that means. NGR and News NGR. And it's on the web. And the stand that Sister Ava makes, when she said black nationalists or die, black separation or die, she's making these claims. Strong. Not one time, not two times, but every time she's making these claims. The sister also says she felt that in the past, Louis Farrakhan was not following the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. And she declares today that he's still not following the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. You can find it. I'm going to read it for you. It's newsngr.com. I'm going to read just a little bit of it, but I want you to go and find it. News, that's with an S, NEWSNGR. Okay, let's read this. The sister says, and I quote, find this in also the final call. Well, this is what she's saying when she was put over temple number 15. I don't know if you know, because she was put over that temple in 1998. I don't know if you know, but Sister Ava Muhammad is as radical, or was as radical as Dr. Khalid Muhammad. To the day she died, nobody could quench that. Now, you know the nation couldn't move forward with a Khalid Muhammad. And then Farrakhan is hesitant to move forward with Ava Muhammad because he has to give a position because she's helping win a court case. Right? And he gave him these positions. You find out what's going on. When Dr. Khalid got arrested for mortgage fraud, it wasn't his property. But nonetheless, got the property sold. The property belonged to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Dr. Khalid Muhammad was just selling the property. And so all this other stuff came up where he's been, basically, they arrested him saying he had no right to sell it. Now, he had permission to sell it from Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, right? And I'm being respectful here. That's why I said honorable. You know, even though I think he's less than honorable, but I'll be respectful. And so they arrested Dr. Khalid and took him to jail. Around this time was 1987, 88. He spent time in jail. He spent like 9 months. 9 months. He gets out. He's made national spokesman for the Nation of Islam. Sister A. Muhammad works on this legal case where Farrakhan had flew to Libya, right? I guess against the U.S. government's will. So this whole game plays out where he needs a lawyer to plead his case. Sister Ava Muhammad, one of the best lawyers that have ever walked this planet, came to his rescue. When she came to his rescue, she got it, got all the stuff exonerated. Then she ended up being the first woman, first lady. Even though it's against the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it's against the teaching. Out of his gratitude, he made her the first lady to be over mosque number 15. First one of her kind. Now, I want to say this. In the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it says that a woman should not usurp the power of a man. So if she's married and she served on a post, that's the way of her being over her husband. It's not allowed in the nation. This is not the nation's teaching. But out of gratitude, Louis Farrakhan gave her that position. Now, she herself said that she didn't feel right being over Temple number 15, being over men like that. She didn't feel right. She said that it seemed that Farrakhan was moving away from the traditional Islamic faith as related to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. She said this with her own mouth. But she's under him, remember that. So she bags it up. She said, but, because you got to understand that what you first speak is the truth. What you first speak is the truth. She says, but it was different because it showed that women could be leaders in the country. That doesn't sound like Islam. That sounds like white nationalism and liberation. Understand that. And not only that, but it disturbs the family unit. So he has to get out of this. Because if Sister Ava is teaching black nationalism, black separation, and all of this, and she's still teaching the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, there are people, Muslims, that are looking at her, and I've heard them say it, heard many Muslims say it, and say, Sister Ava's an amazing teacher, the first one of her kind, and all of that, to even be over a temple mosque, which is heresy, is unheard of amongst the nation of Islam, under the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It's not allowed. But Farrakhan puts her over a mosque out of gratitude. She defended him and supposedly kept him from going to jail. I think the whole thing was something to trap the sister. They had to make a big deal of Farrakhan over the years, because those of us that have real eyesight knew that he was not in any real danger. Later, the sister knew it too. Telling you what I know, brothers and sisters. Speaking what I know. And she said, well, it showed that women could be leaders in the country. And she covers it. And because Muhammad's message was about including everyone, which was the opposite of what Farrakhan had been saying in the past. The sister would never say that. Now, this is the story, the news story. Remember I told you that Whitey would try to give a false narrative? That's what's happening right now. They're trying to make it like Sister Ava Muhammad was for white women and black women, that she was for white people and black people. Sister Ava Muhammad wasn't for white people or black people. That's the reason why I gave you, brothers and sisters, if you go on Facebook, I show a clip of the speech she did before she was assassinated. I believe that she was assassinated because I believe she was poisoned. I believe that with all my heart. With all my heart, I believe that. So this, it's going to be up for discussion. This will be up for discussion because they're saying one thing about the sister is just not true. It's not true. Boyce Watkins even played a reel about Sister Ava Muhammad. Boyce Watkins did. And he's a coon, right? I mean, he plays it up with these white people.
Now, Thomas Jefferson.
But and I want you to...
One of the greatest...
Excuse me. I didn't mean to turn that on. But I want you to have the truth. What I want to do is I want to let that play. I do want to let it play. And then cut it off. But I want to put the link. I want to take the link and put it in the comment section. I think I'll do that. That's what I'll do. Let me copy the link. I'll copy it. And then after that, I copy the link. I've just copied it. And after that, what I'm going to do, brothers and sisters, let me turn this down a little bit. Well, let me keep it up for right now, because I want you to hear what she's saying. All right. Now listen to this closely, brothers and sisters, and then I'm gonna put the link in the comment section as well. But just listen to what the sister. This is a speech she made, right? Speech she makes, present day speech, the speech she made before our sister is not heard from again. Just listen to this.
Of the founding fathers, because we say the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is a hater. Farrakhan, he's a hater. They hate white people because they want to separate. Because I don't want to live next to you and you're beating me to death. So I'm a hater. Okay.
She's still talking separation.
But since we love what they say and take what they say as truth, let's hear what Thomas Jefferson has to say about separation.
Now watch this. Watch this, brothers and sisters.
These are his notes from, and you can go to the University of Chicago Library and go to their website. Just pull this up, Google it. It's chapter 15 of a very lengthy writing.
Right.
Jefferson was a prolific writer. He was also a statutory rapist.
Now this is the, and I hope you could hear that. I hope you could hear that. And I'm experimenting in. But you heard what she said. She said separation. She's still talking separation. Dr. Ava Muhammad is still talking separation. She's still talking get away from these white people. Get away from these white people. She has not changed, brothers and sisters. And this is very important. The fact that she hasn't changed her narrative since she come in the Nation of Islam. You see, and it's strange that these papers now are trying to roll back her narrative like she was just all for all white people and black people coming together. The sister didn't say it. She never said that. She stayed on course. But they'll try to make you believe that she didn't stay on course. And I'm going to put this speech in here because this is the speech that got Sister Ava Muhammad assassinated. This is the one. And I want to put this in the comment section so you'll have it because you need it. You need it. And I want you to see the truth because the white man has his own truth and he'll rewrite history. That's why I have to be careful. See, this sister was assassinated because they couldn't roll her over. Remember, Dr. Khalid Muhammad was gotten out of Farrakhan's Nation of Islam because they couldn't roll him over either. So you got to understand that. But let me put this in the comment section. And don't forget to thumbs up, like, and subscribe, brothers and sisters. We could certainly use your participation on that. And any comments you have, you're welcome to put in, good or bad. We receive it all. We will read it. But it says, she says, Thomas Jefferson was a prolific writer. Then she goes on to say, and also a rapist. He's raping them black kids around there. She's going to explain that. She's going to explain herself. I'm going to put it in here. But this is a speech that got her assassinated. And you should know that because if they can't change her, remember, she's very influential. She's very influential. There's questions there. I mean, I don't mean no harm, brothers and sisters. God in heaven, Allah knows I don't. But in this heaven, in this heaven. But I mean, it's just strange to see that every leader that is effective nationalist, that is bold and black, seems to die under Farrakhan. I mean, she didn't agree with Farrakhan. She thought his direction was changing. This was very plain. This is what the Muslim was saying. This is what they were saying. That his direction had changed. Remember Dr. Khalid saying that he prayed that it was political and that Farrakhan was not being used, but that this change up he was doing, he prayed that it was political. Here you have the sister. She says, well, it seems that He was deviating from the nation's teaching. Talking about Minister Farrakhan. If you look, you'll see. I've been saying it the entire time. And there are people right now who think I'm picking with Farrakhan. I'm not. I just know that when Farrakhan dies, with all these compromises that he made, it's going to make it that much harder for you and I to get justice, freedom, and equality. And a man has to go into battle with a gun, right? If you're on a battlefield today, you need a gun. You can have everything else you want, bombs, drones, and whatever, but you're still going to need a gun. And you can't send out soldiers with this old compromising sweet talk, right? And expect them to be able to defend their women and children, because you encapsulated their minds. You have encapsulated their minds, and that encapsulation of this sort of middle of the road Islam that's all right with everybody takes the militancy away. And brothers and sisters, when it takes the militancy away, then it doesn't matter if you have FOI in the NOI when they're running around skipping through the daisies and holding hands with these buttermilk colored Muslims calling themselves black, right? That's what you got. You got some people now. The Asians are coming in the Nation of Islam. You got Asians coming in there too, but you got people that are. I'm talking about white Asians. I'm not talking about black Asians. If they're black, if they're black, then the message is for the black man. But I'm talking about the whites that are coming in. There are whites that are coming in, right? White Asians that are coming in. All of these people, they got a white person calling himself a Native American. He and I fussed, and there were Muslims that got angry with me. They're angry with me now, talking about doing some things, right? Talking about they're a killer. I'm a killer too. Let's get it right. I was trained FOI, but I was trained FOI in the Elijah Mosque. So and I was trained under an Elijah Muslim. There was no compromising. No compromising in that. And I train every day. So, I don't bag down from the insults or anything like that, or I just don't bag down. I'm not that kind of person. I love my life, right? And I'll fight to keep it. I will fight to keep it. I'll fight to protect my life, the life of my family. I'll do that. That's for any other Muslims. You sit in and text and do whatever you want. You're welcome to do that, as long as you don't act on it. Because I promise you won't get a chance to finish. I love my life. I love the life of my family. I intend to live it to the fullest. But it's a shame that as black people, we can't be truthful, can't be honest. Gotta always have an angle. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that the white man is the devil. Sister Ava Muhammad agrees that the white man is the devil. This is agreed. They agree that the white man is the devil. She gets the back of the final call, right? When Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has his program down there. She reads from the program about separation, right? Which is the foundation of the teaching. The foundation of the teaching. The white man is the devil. Why? He's killing us. He's doing all this stuff to us, giving us unhealthy food, killing us in the hospitals, killing us on the streets, everywhere. So he's the devil, and we have to separate from the devil. We have to come out from among them, O ye my people. This is the teaching. So you can understand how any Muslim can be disturbed by the fact that Farrakhan would say Father Flagler is my friend on the one hand, and then put Dr. Khalid Muhammad out of the Nation of Islam on the other hand. Right? When Dr. Khalid Muhammad is even put out of the Nation of Islam in 1993, in 1994, the following year, Minister Farrakhan returns to the same college that had been ripping him down, this Jewish college, right? The same Jewish college that had been ripping him down. Dr. Khaled, the same college that Dr. Khaled was defending him at, he goes there and make a speech at that college condemning Dr. Khaled, setting the record straight, so to speak, for these so-called white people, right? Right. And not only does he does that, after he sets the record straight, he goes into a press conference to say the same thing again. He had to come out. You see, I know you don't believe this, and that's fine. I want you to do the research because Steve Coakley and I worked on it a long time. And this kind of stuff will get people mad and get them riled up. It'll raise their feathers, raise their hair back on the back of their neck. But we have to go all the way back to see Farrakhan in the beginning. Why the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not select him. He didn't trust him. He didn't select him. He didn't trust him, period. Period. Didn't do it. He wouldn't put him over a mosque. He wouldn't do it. He let him speak. He put him at a mosque, but for him to be able to control a district, to be able to really control the district like Jeremiah 36:6. If you've been in the Elijah's movement, if you're part of Elijah's movement, then you know what I'm talking about. Because you don't just put people over any mosque. You put them in areas where they will have to work to prove themselves. And once they've done that, both financially, economically, philosophically, and everything applies to the nation's teaching, then after that you can be built up. Now, Farrakhan was rotational at that time. And I got this from Minister Lucius Bey, who trained Minister Malcolm, who observed Farrakhan and many other Muslims. He was in Atlanta before he died. Brother James X Muhammad was taking care of him, who was a friend of mine, a great friend of mine. We do work together often enough. Now, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad never trusted Farrakhan. He said he was a worm. He reminded him of a worm. I mean, you know, worms twist and move and all of that. But that's about all they can do. They're very uneasy over pressure and can't take much pressure. So that's one thing. You see Farrakhan, who desires power in the Nation of Islam, right? That's enough. Upset that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't select him as a strong, independent-based leader. Wouldn't put him in that position. There's a reason why. We don't know, but there's a reason why. Now, Minister Malcolm, and I want to make this plain, was on his way back into the nation. This is how you know that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had nothing to do with ousting him. He silenced him. Well, ousting him, that's a totally different operation. Totally different operation. And the individuals that were in charge took the rules of the Nation of Islam, wouldn't allow Minister Malcolm to connect with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so they interfered and interrupted with the timeline, right? Because you only have a small window. He only had a small window, a timeline to be able to talk, to get some understanding with Mr. Muhammad. The whole narrative that was created was false. And there's two narratives you can create. You can create a narrative prior to death, and you can create a narrative after death. there was a pre-death narrative created for Minister Malcolm because he had become the standard organized by Mr. Muhammad that every Muslim man would go by. And also, Sister Betty, being his wife, had been the standard that every Muslim woman would go by. Now, this is the picture of the nation. And this was the mimic standard of the nation. The teaching, the religion, the understanding, and how to be, and to be strong. Now, the federal government had to destroy that. And brothers and sisters, you have to use your brain on this. Instead of them grabbing somebody from the outside that will come in with no position, no nothing, right? Only, I would say only, because they did grab some people from the outside to come in to do a deed, And they did that 3 years in advance. They could come in, they would do a deed. They were brought in to do a deed. You know what the deed was. But they had to get individuals on the inside that were close to Minister Malcolm, close to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, create confusion. Louis Farrakhan was one. This is common knowledge. Wallace Waradeen Muhammad was one. Farrakhan has admitted this himself. John Ali, National Press Secretary, was one. Captain Joseph, through manipulation, right? Through manipulation of Louis Farrakhan, became influenced to do evil against Minister Malcolm, right? Then you had the other brother, I can't think of his name right now, Guzman, right? But they couldn't turn Guzman or Lukman. They couldn't turn Lukman. They couldn't turn him because he was dedicated to Minister Malcolm to the very end. They couldn't turn him. He even gave Minister Malcolm a gun to be able to defend himself because they had already did the dry run on the Audubon Ballroom, which it was complicit that they were going to kill Minister Malcolm. Now the men that had did the dry run, and we have to talk about all of this to come up to the death of Sister Ava. The men that did the dry run in the Audubon Ballroom, right, was some Muslim and some men that had been brought into the Nation of Islam. Right. Some were Muslim. Some have been brought into the Nation of Islam. If you are paying close attention to the incident that happened to Minister Malcolm, there were at least 6 people involved in the killing itself. But there was only 3 that actually did the killing. And they released some of them in the 80s, and then they just released some. Understand that now, because you may have missed that. And the latter ones they released, they were the hitmen when they got out of jail. Then Sister Malika, Minister Malcolm's daughter, ends up dead in her apartment. We believe she was poisoned. They said they didn't know how she died. Wouldn't even give us a pharmacy and toxicology report. This, brothers and sisters, is ironic. Abrupt death. Abrupt death. Now, let's go back. Farrakhan was with the men when they organized the death of Minister Malcolm. He was with the men from the Newark Mosque. That organized this dry run on Minister Malcolm. He was there helping them. Understand that. Then he sets the atmosphere. He set the atmosphere for what's going on. He said he loved his teacher, Minister Malcolm, right? But he set the atmosphere. He said that Minister Malcolm told him something, gave him some information, but that's not true. That's not true. Other Muslims say that Farrakhan and Wallace Waradeen Muhammad was carrying this information around, and that they had told Minister Malcolm about this, even took him to the individuals. Waradeen Muhammad took him to see the individual. But that's not the narrative that the government put out. It's not the narrative that the papers took. And they know the truth. They absolutely know the truth. So the whole thing was a sabotage. Also, the FBI and CIA tried to get Minister Malcolm to spill the beans on the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but he said, no, I'll never do that. I don't care how bad things are between us. I just don't believe in that. It's not something I'll do. Now, Minister Malcolm was assassinated. We know Minister Farrakhan is involved. We know that Wallace Waradim Muhammad is involved. We already know it. And he'll be fighting that for the rest of his life because he knows what happened. He knows what happened. We all understand. He was young. He was young and ignorant then. Obviously ignorant. So we can say he was young and ignorant then. But once some people get the taste of blood, they want to continue. And anybody that goes against them with the government's backing, the government's behind you, it's almost like a big bully that you can use to say, hey, go beat him up. Go beat her up. Hey, go kill that person. And because you share so many dirty, dark secrets together, they'll go and do it. Right? I'm just being honest with you, brothers and sisters. I want to talk with you for a minute. So you can't have a black nationalist like Malcolm X, right? Because him and Elijah Muhammad literally was changing the world. They were literally changing the world. Muslim was coming in leaps and bounds. So they would change the world together. Now, they have to get rid of Minister Malcolm, right? Because, for one thing, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad put him in the path of Dr. King. Their whole purpose was to get the people from the civil rights movement, move them over to the Nation of Islam, and create some kind of ecumenical program where these two religions, right, where these two denominations could come together, put their differences aside, and work for the goal of black people. In 1964-65, Martin Luther King Jr. is talking what? Separation. Build up the black community, right? He meets with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They killed Malcolm in 1965. Same year that him and Dr. Martin Luther King met. They killed him. Matter of fact, they met in March of 1964, the first time. And that was at a debate here in Washington, D.C. But he came down to speak for Dr. King. Dr. King had gotten arrested in Selma, Alabama. He came down to speak at the invitation of Miss Coretta King, who had befriended him and Sister Betty X, as well as Martin Luther King, and came down to give a speech about the field Negro and the how much he hated his master. Right? That was 3 weeks before Malcolm was killed. So that was somewhere along February the 11th, I believe it was. No, it wasn't. February the 6th. Somewhere around there, February the 5th or 6th, 1965. And so he goes to Detroit to speak February the 14th, 1965, and meet Reverend Cleage. Talk about Albert Cleage, and all of these are warning him concerning Farrakhan and Wallace Waradim Muhammad. Literally, they're warning him. This is right from the horse's mouth. Right from the horse's mouth. And so they have to do something about Cleage. He's going to come later. But they said, look, we got to kill Malcolm. They killed Malcolm. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad began to talk to Dr. King. Him and Dr. King are meeting. They're meeting in the house together. They're forming an ally, forming an alliance for this big Chicago movement. 1965, right? Forming this Chicago alliance. Now, King is there for tenement housing. This is still on the subject. I'm just trying to tell you how it works. But he began to push this this watershed movement for poverty, the Poor People's Campaign, right? It's called Resurrection City, Operation Resurrection City. They're sleeping on the White House lawn and all of that. They're going to leave from Memphis in a major speech, and they're going to be on the White House lawns, and they ain't going to pick up no trash. You working with sanitation workers, right? So they get rid of King. Now, all this connection is to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is teaching black nationalism. He's not wavering. The white man is still the devil. He's not wavering. He's holding to his religious guns. Isn't that right? He's holding to his religious truth. He doesn't waver. And he stays on the path. When they kill Minister Malcolm, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad continues to work. Now, let me say this. We know, and Sister Betty attested this to Sister Dr. Betty Shabazz, a wife of Minister Malcolm X, that the problem was with other envious Muslims. That Elijah Muhammad himself wasn't doing those things. that the problem was with other Muslims. And she declared this, and she stayed to this. And this was the teaching. This was the encouragement she also gave her husband. Mr. Malcolm was upset first, then he come back talking with some intelligence. I know what the Muslims can and can't do. The sister is educating him on this government. All right. Minister Malcolm, before he dies, about a week before he dies, he buys a house for his family. Right after his home is firebombed, he buys a house with the help of his sister Ella Little Collins. And I'm doing this timeline because we're going to get down to Sister Ava Muhammad. We're going to get right down to Sister Ava Muhammad. And so they got Minister Malcolm out of the way. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is still working. He's still working. He's still pushing the best thing known to black people, and that's the nation teaching. He's still doing it, still working. Now, the fact that he made this alliance with Dr. King, and they start to cross paths with one another on purpose, for the goal have been, and the objective have been sealed. We're black people, no matter what side of the line we're on, and we want freedom, we want justice, we want equality. And either we want Islam or we want Christianity, but nonetheless, we want freedom, justice, and equality. Right? And Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we want Islam, because he said Islam is Christianity, it's the same thing. A good Christian is a good Muslim, and a good Muslim is a good Christian. To bring people together, he explained that knowledge to people so they would know. They killed Dr. King in 1968. All right? Now, the whole purpose was to destroy the organization of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And a lot of people missed this. So many people missed this. They began to poison the assassination with guns have begun to change. Because for them, that was too messy of a scene. And it left too many loose ends. So then they start this thing with this cyanide poison and all of that. The Muslim reinstitute, don't you eat anything that you didn't see prepared, the hands prepared. Don't you drink anything that you didn't see poured. Don't do it. It's better that you are hungry before you make a mistake like that, because it could be your life. Now, as soon as they reinstitute this, they're poisoning the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad with cortisone treatment and some food poisoning, right? Cortisone treatment because he had asthmatic bronchitis. Shots at that time, I'm sure they did go with that. I'm sure they did have some shots, but he was using cortisone cream. And that cortisone, after a while, wears off. But it leaves stuff in the system. And it was so strong. Back then, the cortisone treatment was so strong that it could literally poison the body little by little. It would push weight in the front of the face. If you see the latter pictures of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he has a weight in his face, even though his body is frail. And this is very important because they moved toward poisoning as a way to get rid of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And you're going to see them stay toward that, with one exception, is when James Best shoot Dr. Khaled. Other than that, they stays with the poisoning. Now, so here it is. Now the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is out of the way. Now everybody and their mama can jump up and say, hey, I was selected. I was selected. I was selected. We know Silas Muhammad was selected. We know that he was. We know that he was spoken of very highly. We know that he was. We already know. Now, with that being said, Minister Farrakhan was never a selection of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So how does he get control of the Muslim movement? He reenacted the paperwork when their family members, because Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad still had sons that could reinstill the movement, reinstate it. Matter of fact, there was one son in California that continued to be at the mosque, that even gave help and credence to his own brother, Wallace Waradin Muhammad, who had turned against their father. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had many children that were in the Nation of Islam that were living righteously and exact. They could have done that. How does Farrakhan end up over this movement? The government placed him on one side, placed Wallace Waradin Muhammad on the other side. Even with the government placement of Farrakhan, he couldn't get people to follow him. There's a clip with Dr. Khaled, and he told us this too. Dr. Khaled, this is in the No More Negro Stuff, the speech that he delivered called No More Negro Stuff. Dr. Khaled says this is when he had been put out of the nation at that time, and he was trying to communicate with Minister Farrakhan. And he makes this speech, do you remember me? I'm the one who kept 2 guns in the Bible to protect you, to make sure nobody killed you. Because we understood that Dr. Khaled told us that they didn't believe in Farrakhan. You could get into Muslims to even follow Farrakhan, but they follow Khaled. They followed Dr. Khaled Abdul Muhammad, but they wouldn't follow Farrakhan. Khaled made allegiance to Farrakhan to make sure that they could still build up the other temples, Nation of Islam, around the world. Now, they still had Nation of Islam temple because Silas Muhammad was over the lost and found Nation of Islam, the way that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked about it and made it. Farrakhan was going to reestablish with the support of all other Muslims, including Minister Silas Muhammad, reestablish the Nation of Islam temple to refortify the home of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, to get that back, to go and recollect all of these other things. Where he got the money from, we don't know, because the federal government literally came in to destroy the Nation of Islam that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had created. And he had helpers, some of them in the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's family, that did evil, took the money, squandered it, and everything else. Now, with that being said, Dr. Khaled, in order to push nation buildings in that way, up north and Midwest and all of that, under Farrakhan, he helps him. Dr. Khaled is going around with Minister Farrakhan. He's speaking ahead of Minister Farrakhan. He's building up crowds when Farrakhan's own sons, including Mustafa, would not do it. This is the truth. This is the truth, brothers and sisters. So all of this work Dr. Khaled did, and standing behind Minister Farrakhan and speaking very highly for him and speaking very highly for the Nation of Islam as it relates to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You have to understand that Dr. Khaled came in 1970. He came in 1970. So, and you must understand that when he came in, he hears the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He's witnessing that teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he is trying to help Farrakhan re-rally the people to bring that back in Chicago, in the Chicago region. And every person within the Nation of Islam, the teaching, the temple, was in agreement with it. They would help him. So Dr. Khaled could go and speak at the Nation of Islam in Houston, Texas, in the South. He could go to the West Coast, he could go to the East Coast, he could go to the North. This is the reason why he made no difference between the Most Honorable teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He said that each of them were representatives of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So he could go to Silas, Minister Silas Muhammad, and speak, and he was already speaking with Minister Farrakhan, and he often tried to bring them together to make them an amazing force. But Farrakhan didn't want that. Now, with all the work that was done, right? Khaled is raising people up. He's a noted speaker. He's working and all of that. In 1983, Sister Ava came on the scene. 1983. She had gotten a letter, came on the scene. Another radical. When she came in, Minister Farrakhan was teaching the philosophy of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad with the help of Dr. Khalid Muhammad, who was a colleague of Sister Ava Muhammad and every other black Muslim that was inside of the Nation of Islam. They had high respect for Dr. Khalid Muhammad. You have to understand that. And how they had so much respect for Dr. Khalid until the generation that Minister Farrakhan was able to collect under Dr. Khalid with the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. When Dr. Khalid was put out, then a lot of those people left too. Many of them went over to Dr. Minister Silas Muhammad. And Dr. Khalid still stayed loyal. I can tell you this. Still stayed loyal till he get to the speech, no more Negro stuff. Because for one thing, he would return the minister's call. The minister wouldn't. He would call the minister. The minister would return his call. And if he did catch the minister, minister would promise that they were going to meet, and they would never meet. And then he was doing these speeches, saying stuff against Dr. Khalid, some pretty pissy stuff. And Dr. Khalid, we was at Abyssinia Orthodox Church. Adam Clayton Powell used to pastor that church. We were in New York. The minister was speaking. He was getting this Million Man March thing going. And he looked at Dr. Khalid. He was doing his speeches, and people was giving it back to him. He was saying stuff, and people were like, yeah, they're giving it back to him. And he said, we will kill you for this. He looked at Dr. Khalid. We was right in Abyssinia Baptist Church that Adam Clayton Powell had passed. He looked at Dr. Khalid and said, we will kill you for this. And the Muslims even said it, brothers and sisters, in the movement back then. This is in the 90s. Even said, did you hear what the minister said to you, brother? Dr. Khalid said, yeah, I heard him. He said, I heard him. That's all he said. And so but it was the Minister Farrakhan who invited Dr. Khalid to come there. So all of this is some pretty fishy stuff. It's strange. Funny moves is what I'm saying. All of these were funny moves. Now, Dr. Khalid, as a radical, it was all right in the 80s. Coming up to the 90s, about 91, 92, they try to calm him down because Farrakhan is trying to go more mainstream. He's trying to go mainstream. He is not ready to battle with that. He's already proclaimed Father Flaker his friend in the 80s. And then again in 1993, after the speech at King College. You know what I told you? Farrakhan came back after he put Khalid out, after the House of Representatives had voted to silence Khalid and the House of Senate, right? And the House of Senate, and all the sellout black Congress. All the sellout black congressmen, they did the same thing too. Sellout preachers and all that, all of them got against Khalid. And so Dr. Khalid is silenced. Then he's silenced first he's silenced for 90 days. Then he's silenced indefinitely. Then he's like, hey, I'm gonna speak. I mean, I'm no longer, I don't have to speak for the Nation of Islam, but I'm gonna speak after a while. It took a long time. He was loyal, hoping that he would hear from Minister Farrakhan, but he didn't. Minister Farrakhan had no intentions of getting in contact with a Khalid Muhammad. Now, we're getting close to Sister Ava Muhammad. Because here somebody was a mirror image of Dr. Khalid that also didn't play with these crackers. She didn't like white people. Dr. Ava Muhammad would not play that game. And she identified with Dr. Khalid on a whole lot of stuff. She began to speak stronger, right? When Dr. Khalid was gone, and she's galvanizing. Dr. Khalid galvanized the men in the Muslim movement. Sister Ava was galvanizing the women. And they all understanding each other. Because all of them were around the same age. They were young. They weren't going for that handkerchief head sellout stuff. They wasn't going for it, brothers and sisters. And so she began to become a problem. Now, Dr. Khalid, who is still keeping company with Muslims, right? Muslims are coming to see him, period. They're coming to see him because a lot of them didn't understand what was going on. And they had to come to the brother for clarity. And as long as he was silenced, he was still in the nation so they could talk with him. But they were supposed to shun him, but it didn't turn out that way. Because a lot of the FOI didn't see anything that he did wrong, including Mustafa, including Ishmael. This is a fact. So James Best, who had been at a few Muslim speeches that Khalid had, and had conflict with Dr. Khalid for whatever reason. For whatever reason, he said it was a woman. That's not true. James Best was cited as mentally unstable, but he had a problem with Dr. Khalid Muhammad because James Best to this day is obsessed with Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's out of the nation. He even has his own following, from what I understand. But he has Farrakhan up there as his spiritual father. I mean, he's very confused, very, very confused. But he wants to kill Dr. Khalid because he thought Khalid was in the way of Farrakhan's mainstream movement. He said this himself. You have to go back and listen to James Best. He said this himself, that first he said it was a woman, right? Found out that wasn't true. Then he goes to using some other excuse, but he come down to it. He's working against Minister Farrakhan, and I don't like that. I take obsession with that. Yeah, I take offense. He didn't like it, so that wasn't the first time he followed Dr. Khalid, intending to cause him harm. He would show up at Dr. Khaled's meetings and stuff. We remember. He show up. Now, when he get to Riverside, California, he had some help from the government. The same government that moved Minister Louis Farrakhan to get Dr. Khalid out of the way. You know the story. Dr. Khalid is shot in Riverside down the right side of his body. You already know. You know that he's in the hospital. He looked for a visit from Farrakhan. He doesn't get it and all of that. We still had Muslims that were posted up, giving him protection outside of the room in that hospital anyway, downstairs, on every floor, every level. You know how we do it, brothers and sisters, even outside in the parking lot. So they were going to be able to check and charter whoever was coming in there. Now, with that being said, let's rush to the forefront of that. You know that Dr. Khalid eventually was poisoned. Now you look at Sister Ava Muhammad, who I couldn't wait to get to because I want to explain this. You remember I told you Minister Malcolm's daughter, Malika, was poisoned. This abruptly died. Sister Ava Muhammad, who for all intents and purposes was walking around healthy and all of that, they said that cancer came back with a vengeance. Brothers and sisters, cancer don't kill you like that. That's the first thing. And I'll let you do your own research on that. Do your own research. Just look up category of cancer or categorical cancer. Categories of cancer. If you look that up, then you'll get the information. Information will indeed come to you. But it don't kill you abruptly like that. And this sister who was still teaching black nationalism, black separation or death, she's still teaching the same thing. Still a radical, had not changed, and now she has a position that is solidified. And Farrakhan is in a position because he can't just move her down from this post. She's the first lady to ever do it. Right? First female minister over men, and that itself is against the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But he's done something now, so it has to be somebody else to take her place. I want you to understand what's going on. See, because there's an algorithm and formula for assassination. Sister Dr. Ava Muhammad could not be controlled no more than they could control Betty Shabazz, because that's who she reminds us of. Sister Betty was strong. The wife of Minister Malcolm X was very strong. They couldn't force her into anything. You know, they even had this white boy with this makeshift lie, like Sister Malika was trying to put a hit out on Farrakhan. Farrakhan has never been in danger, but the government organized and orchestrated this to be able to make Sister Betty and Minister Farrakhan shake hands before the people, to give Farrakhan the trust that he needs to influence you and I. They will go to these lengths for their government agents, the government informants, their provocateurs, right? They'll go to these lengths for them. And from Sister Betty's own mouth, she knew that this was just a game. But you still didn't see, even after that, you didn't see them dealing with one another. Farrakhan envied and hated Malcolm's life so much, and even after death, that he never embraced Malcolm's children, never was any assistance to Sister Betty. He was always envious. Even today, he's envious of Minister Malcolm. In order to get some understanding or sympathy, he will always use Minister Malcolm's name, the same way he used the name of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Right? But Elijah Muhammad wasn't teaching Dianetics. He didn't need to. He had the theology of time. The time and what must be done. He didn't have to teach Dianetics. That's the white man's poison. Farrakhan brought that into his Nation of Islam teaching. I'm just trying to make you see something. The white man is the devil, not Father Flager. Right? The white man is the devil. Farrakhan said, not this one. Right? He brings Father Flager in. He's doing everything against the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. No woman is supposed to usurp authority over man. What does Farrakhan do? Even Dr. Ava Muhammad said that she thought that Farrakhan was moving away from the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And all you have to do is research this and find out that it's true. Even when he put her over a temple, she says a woman is not supposed to usurp authority over a man. Then she tried, so it bothered her. The media tried to say she was obedient to Farrakhan, but she made her statement. The media tried to say another narrative. They even tried to make it like she was just crazy about white folks. That's how you know the government is involved. When you go to see stuff like that, brothers and sisters, you know the government is involved. Farrakhan has been around every powerful black leader in the black nationalist movement. All you have to do is check this, with the exception of Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King's the only one he wasn't around. But every other black nationalist leader, he's been around. And with the exception of Jesse Jackson, all of them have ended up dead. Every last one of them, as soon as he get to them and they create this type of peace treaty and get on this kumbaya kick, they end up dead. And all you got to do is check this, brothers and sisters. All you got to do is check it. Excuse me. This is suspect. This is suspect. Then we have Sister Ava Muhammad. Amazing teacher. I could listen to her forever. She had a delivery. She had the humor. She had the sincerity. She had the charisma. But she was like absolutely separation from these white devils. She called Thomas Jefferson a pedophile. She said he was a rapist, a statutory rapist, because he's around there raping his slaves, raping children, and all of that. She talked about Adams and all of them. Can you imagine how angry the government was and how much they were bending Farrakhan's ear? Remember, Dr. Khalid Muhammad was put out of the nation for what? Speaking against Catholic priests. Farrakhan's friend, Father Flager, is a Catholic priest. He was speaking against the American government. He's speaking against Bill Clinton. Right? Farrakhan makes a move to do something about it. The federal government makes the move to do something about it. Then next thing you know, Farrakhan does something about it. The government, the Department of Correction gave Farrakhan this big grant to rehabilitate felons. Not just black ones, but also white ones. Then you see, they asked Farrakhan the question in 1985, 1986, do you think one day white Muslims will be able to come in the Nation of Islam? And he said, a lot of the Muslims are going to be mad at me for saying this. But yes, someday the white man will be able to come in. Now, Dr. Ava Muhammad was not for integrating with whites. Dr. Ava Muhammad did not want to be around these crackers in the Nation of Islam. She didn't want to be around no white people. She didn't want to be around no Mexican people. She didn't want to be around no yellow people. And you understand what I'm saying? And she didn't want to be around these so-called brown people. Or white people trying to call themselves white. White people trying to say that they were black. She didn't want to have nothing to do with that. She was pushing for this separation thing, and she said that the minister was deviating, brothers and sisters. You look through the papers, and they're telling the story. When she put over mosque number 15, she really didn't want it, because she knew it was a deviation from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And you'll see the papers try to clean it up. The first word you see is hers. The deviation from the teachings. But then after that, that's not even her words. You can look at it and tell. Right? A tree is known by the fruit that it bears, right? Well, if a brother hear you speak, a sister hear you speak, they know if it's you speaking or somebody else speaking for you. Right? You can't speak for me and I can't speak for you. Our spirits are totally different. Our gifts are different. Our anointings are different. Right? Our convictions are different. You're not going to, there's some things that you won't say that I'll say, and there's some things that I won't say that you will say. Because we know each other. Our voice, our convictions are part of our spiritual DNA, part of our identity, if it's better to say that. Sister Ava was as radical as Dr. Khalid. I'm telling you what I know. Any Muslim will tell you that. Muslimas and Muslims will tell you that. She was radical. And every time she spoke, it was Elijah Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad. She would identify Farrakhan, but it would be Elijah Muhammad. Now understand, the government, right? The government wants to get rid of the teaching and philosophy of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad because they need us to work in this integrated machine. You didn't see Sister Ava talking about no integration. All you got to do is look at the Millions Woman March and what she wanted for that program. She ran that program in 1997. Dr. Khalid ran his program in 1998. Do you think that she didn't have any help from Dr. Khalid, brothers and sisters? I was there. She had all the help from Dr. Khalid that she needed and that she wanted. The brother gave whatever she wanted or needed. The brother made the call, made it happen. Dr. Khalid directed people toward her movement too in 1997. He was still out of the nation, but he was still teaching the philosophy of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He had not stopped being a Muslim. Did Malcolm stop being a Muslim? He did not. He says it, I owe what I am, about how many months? About 3 months before he died. December the 4th, 1968. December of 1968. 65. And also in February, December of 1964. Also in February of 1965, Malcolm X, still in Detroit, identified himself with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He said, I'd like to thank the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It's because of him that I am who I am today. He still has a loyalty of teaching Muhammad's teaching. And he understood before he died that the federal government were the ones that stepped in and used black people to destroy one of the best organizations in the world. Brothers and sisters, Sister Ava Muhammad spoke with the philosophy of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, spoke with the conviction of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and she was serious about getting away from these devils, coming out from among these people. The Nation of Islam is going through another phase of gentility, and they can't survive it with another Ava Muhammad. They can't do it. Every time they lose a leader, they move a leader. When Dr. Khalid was killed, you saw Ishmael raise up. Ishmael comes from where? Mexico. Integrated school system. You see Wesley Muhammad. Where does Wesley come from? Integrated school system. He himself has a white daddy. Same thing with Nuri. They got these white people in that family. And you look at these, every Muslim on the post are light-skinned or white. I say white because if you got a white man saying he's Native American, to me, he's white. He looks white, he's white to me. Because I know white people will lie and take your identity. Don't forget Rachel, who was over the NAACP. If you look at, so there was, Brother Abraham was one. If you look at the other Brother Abraham out of Texas, who they moved to Illinois, these are white. He's a white boy. Right? You got a white Indian and a white Mexican. White boys saying that they're Native American, saying that they're Mexican, and they're in the Nation of Islam over black people. These are in the Nation of Islam over black people. What kind of message do that send out? Sister Ava didn't go for that. She wasn't going for that. She says the same thing that any true Mohammedan says, right? A follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. She says the message of the black man, message for the black man is for black people. The Nation of Islam is going through another phase, brothers and sisters, are mainstream, and they can't survive and couldn't survive with a Dr. Ava Muhammad. There's no way. And you know, for all of those that would say, well, the brother is off course, you know, it's crazy. How many of our people have to die before you understand that the government is behind every black leader that is standing in front of you, and the government, right, is not going to put any black person in front of you that they can use and manipulate. And if it's anybody that they can't control, they're going to kill them. The sister died abruptly, brothers and sisters. Did they say how she died? They won't even say it yet. They won't even say it. But her death is consistent with poisoning. I mean, consistent. Anything abrupt like that, right? Anything abrupt like that, unless the sister was hit over the head, God forbid. God forbid. But we don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. All we know is that Dr. Ava Muhammad is dead. She just left a meeting Thursday night. Thursday night, she just left a meeting. Was alive and well. Alive and well. She had just did a speech talking about that devil, calling Thomas Jefferson a rapist, telling the truth, still talking about separation from this white beast. She was alive and well, in good spirits, doing great. All of a sudden, she comes up dead. Brothers and sisters, I want you to use your mind. Don't forget to thumbs up, like, and subscribe, please, brothers and sisters. And don't forget, we could certainly use your help on the Cash App. We could use your help on the Cash App to keep us going. We can certainly use it. Whatever you can give, we appreciate it very much. Appreciate it very much. It's definitely needed for us to keep doing this work. And don't forget that we'll be going to Atlanta speaking this same thing on a venue. We've been invited out there. But brothers and sisters, we need your help in order to get out there so that we can be able to speak toward this venue. I know there's a lot of Muslims mad right now. All I would say is don't get mad with me. Check the facts. Don't forget to thumbs up, like, and subscribe, brothers and sisters. Please. But don't get mad with me. Don't get mad with me. But check the facts. And if I'm wrong, let's debate it out. And if your explanation of it is more rational, then brothers and sisters, I will kindly back down from what I'm saying. But you have to be able to disprove. You see what I'm saying? Sister Ava's ministry, she was for black nationalism. She was for getting away from these white people. See, I know it's a lot of people that don't want to do that. They want to make the white man their friend, right? Some of them have married these devils. I know, I get it. I get it. But the white man is still the devil, whether you're married to him or not. And we still have to separate from these evil beasts, because they'll marry you, kill you, and get the insurance policy. You are allowing their sins to fall on you. The evil that they would do to fall on you, brothers and sisters. We've got to be better than that. We've got to be better than that. We've got to be wiser than that, brothers and sisters. We have to be. God is calling us, brothers and sisters, to stand, and we can't stand mingling with this white man. I believe our sister was poisoned because the sister saw a lot of stuff that was wrong, and she's an honest sister. She's a giving sister, and she'll speak truth. She will speak the truth. She don't care who it is. Farrakhan would be no exception when it comes to her speaking the truth. She would do it. She was loyal to him, but she'll definitely correct him. But anybody that know Minister Farrakhan, I don't care how loyal you are to him, he don't like correction. He wants to have complete autonomy. He wants to be the last word. He don't like anybody correcting him. No one. Don't correct him. You'll have a bad day. You'll have a bad day. When Dr. Khaled put out that speech, no more Negro stuff, it wasn't long. It wasn't long. I told you the story. That was the last speech he did. And brother, if you haven't heard no more Negro stuff, you need to hear it. Because he he even told Farrakhan, he said, we don't have to check with you. Who are you? He said, we'll get permission from God And God alone, God damn it. That's what Dr. Collins said in No More Negro Stuff. And I was there like, wow. I was like, wow. And he did this speech in several places. You know, several places he did the speech. But when I heard it, I just tensed up. You could feel something was in the atmosphere. You could feel it. So I just tensed up. But brothers and sisters, it's real. This is not a game. This is your life. And you got some coons that are working for that white man that are paid to keep you and I down from telling the truth. From telling the truth. They don't want us to do it. They don't want us to tell the truth. So they'll do whatever the man tells them because they're being paid and subsidized by the man in order to do it. Our sister, I believe, was poisoned. I believe it happened within those around the Nation of Islam. I think some of them had something to do with it. Agents, government agents, had something to do with it. Because it's normally when you drop your guards and trust, and you should be able to trust your own people. You should be able to. But we know that people can be bought in and they can sell out. We already know that. We already know it. So brothers and sisters, it's heavy. The sister was heavy. I mean, when she got on Thomas Jefferson and called him a rapist, I was like, that's my girl. That's my girl right there. That's classic Dr. Abel. Classic Dr. Abel. She wasn't letting them white devils off. She was putting fire in their behind from the time she woke up in the morning to the time that she laid down in the evening. She was putting fire on their behind. But the Nation of Islam could not survive with another Dr. Abel Muhammad. They couldn't do it. Farrakhan, you'll see this going into another phase of gentility, a whole nother phase where he's going to introduce the Nation of Islam to another mainstream. And it moves it farther and farther away from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, I'm thankful that you have come and spent this time with me. And my desire and my prayer is that we can raise what we need for the Atlanta trip. Definitely need your help. I'm asking you to help. I drive a very small car, so I can make it there and make it back up for $315 because it's $50 to fill up in my tank, and then at some places I have to go around to several places in Georgia. We have to drive there. I'm not really concerned about getting anything to eat. I'm not really concerned about that. More than anything else, I'm concerned about getting there because I definitely need to get there. And when we make this trip, should be able to make this trip and be okay because we'll be able to raise stuff when we get there, raise monies when we get there. But I do need your help. I'm asking each of you to just donate, please, generously, so that I can get there. And we'll be having a panel discussion on this. So this won't be the last time. I'll see you again. I'm coming back at 7 o'clock because there were people that asked me to talk about it, the assassination of Dr. Abel Muhammad at 7 o'clock. And then there was some others asked me if I come on at 9. So you see that there are 3 shows. There are actually 3 shows. So we'll be back at 9, back at 7, and then 9 o'clock. Be back at 7 and then 9 o'clock because that was their request, and I'm going to try to hold to that request. But I just want you to think about what I'm saying. Think about the information that I put out. The white man is trying to put this false narrative among the sisters, just like they did Minister Malcolm, to make you feel that they were all right with these white devils, and they spoke against these white devils to the very death. Same thing with Dr. Collins. Dr. Collins spoke against the white man because he knew the white man was the enemy, right? The only one that's befriending these white people is Farrakhan. And Joshua of Farrakhan is marrying these white people. And you got Muslims that are marrying white women that are covering their faces and wearing these wigs, and they're saying they're black. Sister Dr. Ava Muhammad wasn't going for that. She found problems with it, and it's starting to come out now. When she said that Farrakhan is deviating from the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he couldn't put her out. He couldn't put out Dr. Ava Muhammad. He would have lost the female following there. There's only one thing to do. There's one thing for the government to do, and that's to make sure that an assassination was quick and easy. And then they introduced to us that she died, but they wouldn't tell us how she died. You can tell us she died, but with all this technology for the coroners, you can't tell us how she died. And that is suspect. That is suspect. And they didn't expect us to be intelligent enough to ask the question of how she died. But see, we're not letting them off now because we know the fingerprint of the government. We know when the government is involved, brothers and sisters. We know when they're involved. So what you and I have to do, we have to stay true to the research. We got to stay true to investigations of leaders that are being killed in our community by the white man with black hands. Our people that are being poisoned, shot, cut. We have to be familiar with that. Brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, before it's over, it's going to get hot and heavy. And we have to be ready with the same mind that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had taught about. And we have to get away from these white people. We can't be embracing them. We got to get away from them. Right? We got to get away from them. So brothers and sisters, that's all I have for you now at this point. I'll see you again at 9 o'clock. And thank you. Those of you that come, and I say, if I didn't say it in the beginning, I say it unto you now. Peace be unto you. And may Allah be with you, and hug someone, tell them you love them. Create peace among your brothers and sisters. Please, brothers and sisters, we're trying to sell at least 10 books before the month is out. And we need the money so we can go on to Atlanta and speak at those venues there to explain this. And we're glad that somebody wants to hear us, and it will help us get the jump start that we need. Remember, I have the sister and I also have the children. So I certainly need all the help that I can. If you would be generous to donate at least $25 a piece, I'd be thankful for it. If you would donate at least $25 a piece, I'm certainly thankful. It will take care of me and the sister and our children when we go. I got 4 speeches to do in Georgia, and also got a speech to do in Florida. And I didn't get a chance to do the Detroit, Michigan speech because I didn't have the funds to go. So I'm asking for your help. With these things, we'll be able to raise the funds to be able to continue and to upgrade with what we're doing now and the other things we're trying to get that we certainly need, brothers and sisters. So if you please support us, I'll come back again at 7, and we have books. We have other products that we can give you to sell. So we're not begging, brothers and sisters. We're asking you to barter with us. We can use your money, and we pray that you can use our products. But nonetheless, please support the movement. You can also send something through Cash App, Liberation Group. I've also put that in the notes section. Brothers and sisters, thank you very much. And I say peace be unto you. And assalamu alaikum.